I know the truth about you. I can see past your jokes and into that scared little boy beneath. You, my friend, like a lot of other people, are being lied to.
I totally agree with you, finally. Inversion therapy. I owe my mom a huge apology. Ugh.
Listen, pick a new set of lies. Mine are better.
Pick a new set of lies. Mine are better.
Miss Mia Sarah, who played Lily within this movie, okay? She also played in Time Cop, Jack and the Beanstalk, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Even Mr. Tim Curry within this movie, who plays Darkness, okay? Now, what's interesting about Mr. Tim Curry is that he starred in a lot of things, but his most notable role was playing the father on The Wild Thornberrys. Now, The Wild Thornberrys was about a young, red-headed female, okay, who actually got the power to talk to animals from a shaman, okay, a shaman. But we need to understand certain connections here, like a monkey named Darwin by Mr. Tom Kane.
Call me when you're ready. We are about to put the Darwinism back in social Darwinism.
Social Darwinism?
And brother, it is gonna be fun.
The last unicorn dies tonight. Sunshine is my destroyer.
Yo, what's good? This is what Whispy was. In this video, you guys, this is a continuation of The Truth, Part 2. Now, in our last episode, we understood a great deal of evidence that have to do with cinema, why it's important, and why it connects right back into aspects of art, and also music, and also different clues within the GTA mystery. But understanding this is only half of the battle, and this is part of why I go deeper within our clues. And this is no different than what we're going to do today in order to understand some truths that have been said to our face, but only understood as lies, but not inverted yet. Now, what I mean by that is Tangerine Dream. Okay, Edgar Froese, okay, was a big part of our understanding within the last episode and how we understood clues leading into legend and all of the clues that have conformed themselves before for us to bring truths as to why certain things in the game say certain things. Now, this is no different than what we're going to do today, and understanding a bit of clues that are tied to the same amounts of source material. Okay, once again, resorting back to a big part of the clues that have led us to this specific clue, like why Froese, okay, in his experimental streak was encouraged by an artist known by Salvador Dali, okay. Now, the reason why I'm showing you guys this specifically is we need to understand certain paths of art and why art, okay, is being drawn out into this mystery and why it is segregative, no different than the music and no different than the movies that we have seen before. And we are going to do this today in order to understand a bit of truth that ties into a big part of the answer here. And it is all tied into greater thoughts of religion and also what religion can teach us when it comes to different movies and media along the way. And this is how we will decipher a big part of GTA's code in their mystery. Salvador Dali was not only one of his biggest inspirations into his music, but it was one of the biggest clues that we needed to understand from the beginning, and why eggs, suns, and even the aspects of time are all relevant in this mystery. This is Salvador Dali. Now, I'm not going to stay on him too long. I just want you guys to understand some of the relevancy here. He was deceased in 1989. Now, this is a relevant year within all of our clues because the 80s, nonetheless, are extremely relevant, and we needed to pay attention to them from the very beginning. Now, the persistence of memory, all right, is a very interesting concept, but it's also a painting that he created that showed the distortion of clocks and time. Now, aside from these certain aspects of his work being tied to key elements of the mystery, understand that, you guys, even eggs, and I mean it, you guys, eggs are a big part of this man and why we needed to pay attention. Dale was actually, he was actually buried here, you guys, at the Dale Theater. Now, when you notice that the Dale Theater has eggs on top of the building, you need to understand we are on the right track when it comes down to these secretive clues. And Salvador Dali is to be understood in more ways than one, and why he is relaying some truth. As you can see, a lot of his work involved eggs and even cracking eggs. Even the sun coming from eggs, you guys. All of these things that relate right back to water. Looking at some of his paintings depicting an egg being made out of the world, but also cracked. This is part of the little secretive clues, once again, that we needed to pay attention to. Salvador Dali is interesting in more ways than one. We need to understand, okay, the true connection here and why the game is shifting our attention into understanding this clue. And it might relay back to something Salvador Dali was very famous for saying.
Ils m'ont demandé pourquoi je peignais des montres molles. Alors, aussitôt, j'ai répondu que je peignais des montres molles parce que j'étais mystique. Alors, ils m'ont dit, mais quel rapport entre le mysticisme et les montres molles? Et j'ai répondu parce que les montres molles sont comme du fromage et surtout comme le camembert quand il est tout à fait à point, c'est-à-dire qu'il a la tendance de commencer à dégouliner. Et on a dit, mais quel rapport entre le fromage et le mysticisme? Alors Dali a répondu une chose sublime. Il a dit, parce que Jésus, c'est du fromage.
Jésus, c'est du fromage.
Du fromage, du fromage,
Du fromage.
Chapter 1, Verse 1, Omega, of the Epsilon Tract, from Omega to Alpha and back again, and from Z to A. We as a people have consistently got things
Backwards.
So now what we're going to do here is understand some point of getting things backwards. But first I want to bring a lot of notice to why I chose to put Chris Fromage in the beginning of this episode. And I want you guys to understand why I played that specific part, and so you can understand a big part of his terminology towards lies and why he says follow his lies because his are better. Now, the reason why he's saying this is for duality within wordplay and things that I've been showing here nonetheless. And it's how we can decipher a true lie, like someone lying to someone, or a lie as in lying in a lake. Now, these word plays are to be understood greatly because they're going to uncover a big part of this mystery and a big part of how this mystery was built so that we can get whatever it may be, a jetpack, or even a spaceship, or even a doomsday sequence. The fact of the matter here is that in order to uncover any of this, we need to figure out exactly why they have patterns in this game. And speaking backwards was one of them. Now, Jesus Christ, okay? I want you to understand that if we have these things backwards, okay, Jesus Christ really is Christ Jesus, okay? But this is only to be understood with a grain of salt. Now we are to segregate and understand that we can get C-R-I-S out of Christ, okay? Forming somewhat of Chris, okay, with no H, okay? Now that we have Chris Jesus, we're going to understand once again a bit of wordplay and understanding the point. Jesus is fromage, okay, according to Salvador Dali, one of our clues. But fromage, okay, is cheese. Now, there's a big point to why I showed you guys cheese and why it relates to the Epsilon Tract. Now, before we look at the Epsilon Tract and understand a big part of this clue, understand that fromage, you guys, okay, means forming within French. Forming. Now, understand that this is how they get you sidetracked and lost, okay? You could have stuck on forming and had that inform your decision to think what you think for a long time, you guys, a long time. But understand this is how they lose you without going deeper. Regardless of how you would have looked at it, whether formage or fromage, it would have took you to the same amount of answers, and it still stems back to the origins of the word, whether in Old Latin, okay, and how it really dates back to formia, okay, which means morph, okay, but this is all a distinction of the word form, okay, or to shape, format, or fashion. The fact here is that forming would have took us into an engine of answers regardless of how we understood it. But understanding once again enough of the pattern to go deeper is what is going to show you the true aspect of the clue here. Cheese. Chapter 5, verse 3. Do not forget about the dove. The dove is the dove of love and of truth. That is an old metaphor, and one that unites all knowledge under epsilonism. Now understand, you guys, the dove, okay, that they are talking about is of truth. We have confirmed that so far. Now, in chapter 1, verse 2, it says, that dove is money. Now, what I find very interesting is that among a lot of different terms for money, there is bank, Benjamins, big ones, bills, bones, bread, bucks, cabbage, and cheddar, aka cheese. So learning from what we've gained so far, that fromage is cheese, we need to understand that cheese is money. But within the epsilon tract, this brings more clarity as to why money, okay, is tied to the dove of truth and the dove of love. But this dove, okay, is tied once again to fromage. And the R and the O within fromage in Chris fromage are technically backwards from the beginning, giving us an answer of a character that we know called Chris fromage. So realize, you guys, when cheese literally just gave us a huge clue into understanding Jesus and understanding why money is tied to religion, it also gave us a big clue as to why certain things are holy and why they're tied to an important person. But there are also subtler clues that have been tied to aspects of boredom.
I mean, like, you give a fuck. Oh, see, I give a fuck, Michael. It's a position, a fucking viewpoint, all right? Like God, like evolution, like anything else. Sunshine, boredom, lies. That's what we got. Other people, they have other worlds. But for me, I'm like a vulture just circling the desert looking for fucking corpses, you know? A carrion-eating motherfucker. Do you understand that?
Now, what I'm going to do in the next episode, okay, is literally show you guys who this man, okay, is portraying within GTA. I'm going to show you exactly what they meant for Trevor to assimilate in this game. But for now, I want you to understand that yes, there is a point to why it says cut here. Yes, there is a point to why he is tied to the Ultras camp. And yes, there is a reason why all of this is tied to religion. I will reveal that. But I want you guys to understand that everything comes within a grain of salt in our understanding. And if we do not appreciate the information that is given us, then we are not taking advantage of the powerful tools that we have gained along the way and the information that has informed our knowledge. Chapter 3, verse 4. To
understand
completely is to be complete. That is the central maximum of our knowledge. And knowledge requires no faith. So realize, you guys, every single time I told you guys that it is going to take a shred of faith, okay? There are those of you who choose to take upon a gamble, okay, of faith, the fact that there may or may not be anything. But there are an elite few who understand and gain the knowledge so that they do not require that shred of faith. Realize we are not a religion. We are a science and a way of understanding everything. A science of understanding everything. That sounds a lot like Scientology. And Mr. Tom Cruise has always been tied to Scientology. He's also been tied to Need for Speed and also a Jack. Alright, before we go, you guys, there's something that I want to clarify, and also someone that I want to give a really big shout out to. Today I sent out a tweet that said Stephen Ogg / Trevor Phillips' true identity will be revealed today. Now, I want you to understand, I do know Trevor Phillips' true identity within this mystery. And it is no different than understanding Chris Formage's true identity within this mystery. But we needed to decode and understand a big part of Chris before we understand the religious importance. Now that we have gained this importance, we are ready for Trevor Phillips. And he will be coming in the next episode, and a big part of who he is and what role he really plays. But as for the shout out, I really want to give a big shout out to Stephen Ogg, okay, the actor who actually plays Trevor. Now, I want to give a really, really big shout out to you because, you know, you didn't have to favor my tweet, but you did. You chose to, and I truly appreciate it. And I feel as though it goes without saying that we appreciate everything you do, even within the game that you actually worked on. I mean, you know, we all love Trevor, and I truly wanted to say thank you. And thank you for your appreciation in what we do, and even the whole mystery side of GTA, if you do know about it. But I really want to say thank you, Stevens. Thank you for actually favoriting my tweet, because you really didn't have to, bro. You chose to. Thank you. And as for the rest of you, just know that his true identity will be coming in the next episode. And we will figure out exactly why his neck says, "cut here."
Hey, man.
What do you want? I warned you. And then it turns out that everything I fucking thought about you was wrong. Everything. You're not dead, and you're not a man. Well, what the fuck are you? I'm your fucking nightmare.
I'm your fucking nightmare.
Yeah, enough with your goddamn threats! Let me just ask you something, all right? Something I've been thinking about. Up in North Yankton, exactly who was buried in your place?
I never gave it any thought.
You know what I'm thinking?
I had no clue.
You treacherous piece of shit! You're fucking dead! You're fucking dead! Oh, fuck. Trevor! Hey! T! Fuck you!
Hey, come on. Where you going?
You know where I'm going! Fuck you!
You don't need to go all the way to North Yankton to find out what I can tell you over a couple beers back in my house.
Come on, we'll order pizza.
Fuck you! Fuck your pizza! Fuck everything it stands for!
So I ask you guys, why when Trevor walks into Michael's house, that music starts playing and says that the devil is on the loose. And also, why when Michael offers, to order a pizza, Trevor says, fuck you, fuck your pizza, and fuck everything it stands for. As far as I'm concerned, pizza stands for cheese and bread. John 6:35. And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. That sounds a lot like coming back to the house for pizza and beers.
Come on, man, knock it off.
What?
I'm gonna break your fucking fingers. You don't knock that shit off.
Well, please, all right? You'd alleviate the boredom.
The boredom.
Michael just offered to do something very, very bad. And the main one who is enticing him to do so is Trevor. And when he says something bad, he tells him that that would alleviate the boredom. Or would that be getting rid of the cheese? Getting rid of Jesus. Now, for some reason, Mr. Trevor Phillips here has a black lightning bolt on his hand. Very interesting. Very, very interesting.